on Speedweek, Rahal survives Pocono for his first 88 win.
An ESPN colleague wins the Silver Crown.
And Davey celebrates for both himself and his dad.
This and more next on Speedweek.
Many IndyCar teams are standing back assessing their damages after a wreck-filled weekend at Pocono. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to Speed Week and a big night of action here on ESPN. No less than 10 cars were damaged or destroyed at the bumpy Pocono International Raceway before and during the Quaker State 500, causing some to urge CART not to return until major improvements are made. Well, the outcome of the race proved that an engine other than a Chevy can win and that Bobby Rahal can't be counted out of his third straight championship. They've been running here at Pocono in eastern Pennsylvania since 1971. This 500 is the third and final one in CART's Triple Crown. Rick Mears was pole sitter. This year he passed A.J. Foyt's record of 10 500-mile race poles. Mears now has 12. Teammate, second fastest qualifier, Danny Sullivan won Michigan and is the point leader going into this event. Bobby Rahal starts third. He hasn't won a 500 since Indy in 1986. In row 2, Mario Andretti flanked by Allison Sr. and A.J. Foyt, a combined 173 500-mile starts. Appropriately, the field would be paced by a $1 million Ferrari, and driver Kevin Cogan would lead 65 laps, far more than anyone else. It was indeed a race of survival for the 26 cars that took the green. Only 5 laps complete, and Ari Lyondike is hard into the boilerplate wall in turn 3, suffering ankle injuries. Mears' day was plagued with problems. This lengthy pit stop early for a broken shock didn't put him out of the race. But when Phil Kruger crashed for the second time in 4 days, Mears is also involved, and this time is out. For the first time in more than 4 years, number 14, A.J. Foyt is the leader of an IndyCar 500. He led for 14 laps, but at the halfway point stretched it too far, ran out of fuel, and had to make a costly pit stop. Mario is now leading and about to lap Dick Simon in turn 3, but the two cars touch and both are hard into the wall. Neither is injured. Dick says he didn't see Mario. Sullivan is also out of the race, trying to avoid the incident. So with the top 2 out, Foyt appeared poised to make a charge to the front. But any chance of win number 5 here ended when a faulty gearbox put him disappointingly on the sidelines.
Son of a bitch.
3/4 of the way through, Big Al was passing Little Al for the lead. While everybody's attention was focused on the battle on the track, probably the most frightening crash of the race was occurring in the pits. John Andretti, exiting the bumpy pit lane, breaks a right rear half shaft and is head-on into the wall. The car is completely broken in half, and the tub overturned several times with John in it. Careful extraction from the car, and John is taken to the infield hospital for treatment of a broken toe. Hard to believe for a crash that looked so bad. Big Al wasn't able to make the restart as he pulled his car into the pits with ignition problems. If he had won, he would have tied A.J. for the most career 500 wins, 9. Bobby Rahal beat Allison Jr. by 17 seconds to take the win. It was his first win of the year, first for the Judd engine, and an end to the Chevy win streak.
I'm kind of proud to say that I was the first driver to win with a Judd, and it wasn't the best motor out there today by a lot, but it got us to the end, and we've had some very good engines from them, and I look forward to a lot of good things in the future with it. But more than anything, it's reliable, and it gets me there to the end.
In the final laps, Roberto Guerrero passed Derek Bailey for third place, giving Roberto renewed hope in what has been a difficult year.
We've had a pretty poor year, so I'm very, very happy. The team did a great job, and we weren't the fastest car out there, but we made it to the end, and that was the important thing today.
Rahal's consistency, now rewarded with the win, puts him in the points lead. Sullivan is only 3 behind. Third is Little Al, only 5 back. Fourth is Mears, and fifth is Michael Andretti. Well, the damage and destruction wasn't limited to the Indy cars at Pocono. Also during the weekend, 3 ARS cars and 3 SCCA race trucks had incidents of wall contact. So combined with the 10 Indy cars, that made a grand total of 16 that were either damaged or destroyed at Pocono. Certainly the driver that had the most horrifying crash is John Andretti, and we are with him in his Indianapolis home now. What happened, John?
Well, I come in the pits a couple laps after I just left the pits because we had a car felt kind of funny, And I thought it was a tire going down, so I came in, they put a new set of tires on, and as I was leaving pit lane, the rear suspension bolt came out and just sent me straight into the pit wall.
What's your extent of injuries?
Well, I have just behind the little toe, there's the long bone that runs along the side. It's been split in several different fragments, and just a crack up here by my knee, and that's about it. Just bumps and bruises everywhere else.
Naturally, we're all concerned about safety. What are your feelings about the safety at Pocono?
Well, Pocono's, the racetrack is a good example of where the race cars are now much safer than the race facility. It's in an instance like mine, I wouldn't be laying here if the track was kept up to date. And in other words, the boilerplate I-beams behind are what ripped the car to pieces. Had it happened on the racetrack, I probably would have been in a little bit better shape, but probably not much better because the track is just not it's not up to date. So I think that now, instead of keep looking at the safety of the race cars, they need to start looking at the facilities.
So what's in the immediate future, John? Are you going to miss a couple of races?
If I can persuade, or bribe Dr. Trammell, I'd like to be at Mid-Ohio. I'm pushing real hard, and I'm trying to exercise my foot as much as I can all night long and try and get it back in condition. He said no way, and he's kind of got the last say, but I think that on Monday when I go to meet with him, if I can show him some real improvement, then maybe we can talk about it.
John spent only one full day in the hospital, incredible for a crash that looked very bad. And while John's first-time experience at Pocono was disastrous, another first-timer who ran the ARS race had a much better fate. Points leader Dave Simpson had the pole for round 7 of the ARS series, leading a field of 14 to the green. First-time starter Michael Greenfield in a car owned by Chip Ganassi and Pat Patrick worked his way from the second row to take the lead from Tommy Byrne. When Jan Beekes and Mike Snow spun, the yellow came out and bunched up the field. On the restart, Greenfield fell all the way back to third as Byrne once again gained the point. But then on the last lap, Byrne gets hung up behind a slower car, Greenfield powers past him, and Michael wins his first race on an oval in his first ARS start. This series hasn't had a repeat winner all year.
Speedweek is brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality, always has, always will. And by Busch Beer, the beer with a taste as smooth as its name.
Up next, the King reaches another milestone.
And later, USAC Midgets climb the walls.
Quaker State congratulates Ricky Rudd and his Quaker State Buick for a thrilling bumper-to-bumper victory at Watkins Glen.
If you're like me, you want your engine to perform. You want it to run clean, and you don't want sludge. That's why you and I both need Quaker State with QSX. No other oil runs cleaner or fights sludge better. And the Quaker State I use in my car is the same oil you can buy right off the shelf for your car.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Guys, but I've been waiting for a Bud Light.
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
Come on, let me show you the kitchen. You've seen the bedroom.
Bud Light, because everything else is just a light. When your Performance Pro bolts on Dunlop Performance radials, you share something with the world's most demanding race car drivers. Your tires are one with the road. Now you understand why performance is our passion. See your Dunlop Performance Pro for the ride of your life.
If you're looking for the only sports car in the world that gives you the superior traction of front-wheel drive, a competition suspension, and an unbeatable 770 protection plan, then look no further. It's got to be the intercooled, turbocharged Dodge Daytona Shelby Z.
Now save up to $14.40 with cash back and package discounts on selected Dodge cars in stock.
Well, Larry Nuber has joined us now. And Larry, Sunday's Winston Cup race at Michigan International Speedway, a big one for Richard Petty, his 500 consecutive start.
Bob, that streak dates back to 1971, and it made us wonder how it compares to other sports. Baltimore Orioles shortstop Cal Ripken's 6-season consecutive streak totals 1,053 games. The Detroit Pistons' Bill Laimbeer has appeared in 646 consecutive games, and this 9-season streak will continue this fall. Over a span of 20 seasons, Jim Marshall played defensive end in 282 straight NFL games. Petty's 500 straight start didn't result in his 201st Winston Cup victory, as hoped. His Pontiac failed to finish. But another make of car, which has won 6 in the last 7 races at MIS, made it 7 for 8. Fords did well here, and that's normal. A red Ford set a new unrestricted track record. A Ford sat in each of the first 4 rows, which in MIS fashion would be an almost caution-free race. The surprise in the top 10, Brett Bodine and Bud Moore's car, who was in store for his best day of the year. The Thunderbirds of Bill Elliott and Davey Allison dominated early, but not until after the first pit stops did another brand even sniff the lead. Those pauses under green meant, predictably, the Childress-Schomerdine group sent Dale Earnhardt out first. Championship contenders Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace each had frustrating days, though. Later, a drop valve on Dale's car kept him in the top 10 finish several laps down. But Rusty overcame a couple of problems and somehow pampered his car to second. This was a calm race until a track debris caution 30 laps from the end. As everyone ducked in, action erupted everywhere. As a contending Brett Bodine turned in, he was rear-ended by Eddie Beerswall, ending his chances for victory. Then a fuel spill caused this raging forest fire in Sterling Marlin's pit. No one was injured seriously, but for the few of us who also witnessed the huge Herm Johnson Indy pit fire of '81, there were anxious moments. The blaze forced Elliott to leave early and return for a second stop. The lost track ground cost him the race. When the green returned, Davey Allison gobbled up Rusty and coasted to the win. A terrific late race charge by Elliott created this scramble for second, won by Wallace over Bill, and fourth finisher Morgan Shepherd, this time subbing for Buddy Baker. Davey, who won his first of the year, third of his career, all live by the way on ESPN, was emotional in victory lane.
Tell you what, this has been a long time coming. These guys have done a heck of a job all year. We've just had some tough breaks. We knew we were good enough to win, and we just kept digging. These guys kept working hard, and we've survived. And today we came out here with this Haviland Star Thunderbird, and we're in victory lane. I just want to say 2 things. First, these guys deserve it. And second, I want to dedicate this race to my dad and all the working people that come out to support us.
In points, Rusty gained a little and now leads Bill by 21. Dale is 160 back, followed by a drifting Ken Schrader and Terry Labonte.
I know you're all concerned about Buddy Baker. He is recovering nicely from surgery last week that removed a blood clot from his brain.
And Bob, for the rest of the year, driving chores in his car will be split between Morgan Shepherd and Rick Mast. Rumors abound that Baker may have driven in his last Winston Cup race. Racing will not lose its gentle giant, though, as plans are to maintain the team. It's almost inconceivable to imagine Winston Cup racing without a Buck or Buddy Baker driving. Here, Buddy runs Bud Moore's 15. His specialty has always been the high-speed banks. He began the 200-mile-per-hour era on March 24th, 1970 at Talladega in a Cottonelle 69 Dodge Charger. In practice, he was the first to break that barrier on an American speedway. Buddy drove for practically all major Winston Cup teams through the years, including 71 and 72, when he joined Petty Enterprises, winning twice for them. He won 4 Talladega races and twice at Daytona, the crescendo of his career after several near misses, winning the 1980 Daytona 500 for a very young Harry Ranier team that had just switched over to a luckier number, 28. Buddy won 19 races in his NASCAR career, which began in 1959, 30 seasons ago, earning $3.4 million along the way, 11th best on the all-time list. Some say that he was assisted in that 80 Daytona 500 win with too many men over the wall during a late race fuel stop, but this was a popular win. No penalty ensued.
Hi, I'm Bob Perry. Welcome to Gasoline Alley. When you think about summer boating fun, think about Gasoline Alley. This summer, treat your outboard right by using TCW-rated Quicksilver 2 Cycle Oil by Mercury. Right now, Quicksilver 2-cycle oil in pints is on sale for just $26.99 per case. Gasoline Alley has a full marine department with over 10,000 different parts and accessories. We also service all brands and sizes of outboard motors. Come on down and visit us on Route 1 in Norwood or Route 44 in Lakeville. Open Monday through Friday till 8 p.m., Saturday and Sunday till 5.
A&D Warehouse in Medfield is your key to savings on appliances and home entertainment with guaranteed lowest prices. Hotpoint and A&D give you satisfaction guaranteed with all Hotpoint refrigerators on sale now. Take a 21 cubic foot refrigerator with split wire shelves, an optional ice maker, and big savings. A&D Warehouse is your local Key America dealer. And remember, if you find our sale item at a lower price anywhere, we'll refund the difference.
For racing under the lights on the world's fastest half-mile track. Defending champion Dale Earnhardt takes off at the Busch 500. Saturday night at 7:30 Eastern, live on ESPN.
Travel arrangements made through Eastern Airlines, serving the East and West with convenient flights through Kansas City. Eastern, we've got your ticket.
2 of the first 4 USAC Championship dirt races this year have been on pavement, but last weekend the series was back on its more familiar turf.
It's that time of the racing season when USAC hits the State Fair circuit. This weekend it's the Tony Bettenhausen 100 at the Illinois State Fairgrounds in Springfield. Pole setter George Snyder got the jump at the green, but Kenny Jacobs rode the outside groove to the lead down the backstretch. Young Andy Hillenberg passed Snyder for second. Two-time dirt titleist Jack Hewitt started 15th, but made a quick move to the front and was running third by lap 18. Snyder would fall out of the race on lap 21 with a broken torsion bar stop and a left rear suspension. Jacobs continued to set the pace through lap traffic in number 56, but Hewitt slipped by Hillenberg in turn 4 for second and set sail for Jacobs. Hewitt with a smoking engine would hound Jacobs until lap 73 when a broken fuel pump belt would halt the Genesee Beer Wagon on the backstretch. With Hewitt now in the lead, Hillenberg was riding second, and Steve Chassie was up to third after starting 20th. Jerry Bettenhausen was fourth. Hewitt led for 5 laps until his smoking power plant expired, giving Hillenberg the lead under the yellow. But on the restart, Hillenberg's engine balked, and Chassie took control for the final 5 laps, thereby giving my ESPN announcing partner his first ever victory in the Tony Bettenhausen 100. Well, from the broadcast booth, the victory lane, Steve Chassie, congratulations. You didn't qualify all that well, but you ran hard, and the race came back to you.
Yeah, we had a terrible time qualifying. We tried a new coil spring setup on the right rear, and it just did not work. So we went back to square one and took it off for the race, and the car worked just great. Goodyear tires worked great all day. I expected to chunk one out, but it worked great, and the few yellows played to my way, and when the time came, the car and I were ready, and we went ahead and won the race. And it's a thrill because starting 20th doesn't happen too often to win these races.
Thanks, Gary. Steve. In winning that Springfield race, Steve Chassie joined the immortals of dirt racing at the historic Springfield Mile. And that's the subject of this week's Dick Wallen Racing Classic. Like most of USAC's Champ Dirt races, the Tony Bettenhausen 100 is rich in tradition, dating back to 1934. Only the digits of the years and the drivers change. The track and the cars, thankfully, are the same. Chapter 1962. Jim Hurtubise leads the titans of the sport. Parnelli Jones, Roger Ward, Don Branson, Roger McCluskey, and A.J. Foyt. These were the glory days for Jim, Hercules, riding high and sometimes over the cushion. And stalking in second in a Lindsey Hopkins car, 61's Indy 500 winner, A.J. A classic duel ensues, racing in the tire tracks of earlier Springfield champs Maury Rose, Rex Mays, Ted Horn, Wilbur Shaw, and Sam Hanks. Many winners of this race win 2 or more, and when a fuel-starved A.J. pits, Jim Hurtubise, Indy's surprise fast qualifier 2 years earlier, wins his first of 2 consecutive. Foyt goes on to become the only 4-time winner, but unlike the Brickyard, a cool one, not milk, is the appropriate victory drink for a dirt mile. USAC's Midgets also ran on what is a gigantic track for them. High-speed experience is a premium here as Tom Bigelow leads first. Steve Knepper, atop of the world 2 weeks ago, winning the Belleville Nationals, is atop the fence today. Despite California's Chuck Gurney, Wisconsin's outstanding midget racer, Stan Fox, wins. The Sprint Circuit Out East produces a different winner practically every week at every track. Maryland's Silver Springs Speedway runs these sprints only occasionally, and Rich Eichelberger could have done without this race. The feature was highlighted by this family squabble between Steve Smith Sr. high and son Steve Jr. low. Take note, answers, the kid won, and Steve Siegel even beat out Pop for second. The well-known Oxford Plains Speedway hosted a NASCAR doubleheader. Mike McLaughlin won a typically dramatic modified tour contest over Brian Ross and Reggie Ruggiero. Robbie Crouch has been on a tear in the north, and after this minor little tangle that eventually attracted 1/3 of the 40-car field, weakened his competition, he won again.
Steve Kinzer won 3 more races this week, including Wednesday night in Kokomo, Indiana. Now, when you include Knoxville and the Kings Royale, he has won 5 main events in a row and over $100,000.
I'm Michael Andretti, famous for fast starts and fast cars. I get my power in my own cars from Astrolite batteries. On the road, off the road, or around the town with Astrolite batteries.
Astrolite batteries with advanced power technology to get you off to a fast start.
Not bad.
Astrolite gives you the power.
They're on track for the Summer Games. America's best hit the pavement in the exciting finish of the Sundance Grand Prix of Cycling. Live Saturday at 6 Eastern on ESPN.
When you think of Speed Weeks, you might think of this show, or you may think of Daytona Beach, Florida, and the end of winter. But there is another Speed Weeks that has been around much longer and is held near Salt Lake City at the end of summer. Jerry Garrett reports from the Bonneville Salt Flats.
Fame and fortune do not motivate Salt Flats racers. There's no prize money in this sport and almost no recognition. Even when Al Teague of San Gabriel, California, ran 380 miles an hour here last week, there was no mention in the Salt Lake City newspapers. And that was the fastest speed here in 40 years of Bonneville National Meets. No, speed is the only motivation for these guys, and going faster is their only reward.
It's just the last place where you can just turn it loose and let it go for a long distance.
This is a phenomenal thing. It's so much fun. It's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to go faster.
Once you get salt fever, you just can't stay away. Scott Guthrie of Tallahassee, Florida, has been coming here every year since 1972, racing cars and bikes. This year, he was rewarded with 11 world records, and he beat out Big Daddy Don Garlits to become the first Floridian into the 200-mile-an-hour club. After 35 years of racing nothing but quarter miles, Big Daddy thought his 7-mile run at 217 miles an hour was like running the 24 hours of Le Mans.
I'm telling you, it seems like it's never over. You know, you get down to that first mile marker, and you've went 4 quarters already, and you've got a long ways to go yet.
Another first-timer at the Salt this year was Frances Stark, a San Francisco area college student who bumped up her class record 5 days in a row. This clone of a Winston Cup Buick served notice to NASCAR that downsizing engines may not work. The Miller Buick went 219 here with a V6. In all, the 300 or so cars on hand set about 3 dozen records. But records or no, they'll all be back next year like Don Garlits.
I've got salt fever.
Reporting from the Bonneville Salt Flats for Speedweek, this is Jerry Garrett.
The NHRA North Star Nationals are the final tune-up before the U.S. Nationals Labor Day weekend in Indianapolis. And if Brainerd is any indication of things to come, we could see some surprise winners at Indy. Tony Christian in the near lane is a former stock broker. Now he's in his 3rd season of pro stock racing. His opponent is Bob Glidden, who has 3 titles here and a runner-up finish last year. It's close, but Christian's reaction time overcomes a better speed and ET by Glidden. The Glidden team enthusiasm is a little premature. Tony wins his 2nd of the year. In Pro Funny Cars, John Force is in the near lane with John Martin alongside in his first ever final round appearance. Martin loses traction and Force wins his 2nd of 88 and 3rd of his funny car career. Darrell Gwynn has won 4 times this season in Top Fuel, but is 3rd in points. The points leader is his opponent, Joe Amato. A squeaky close finish, but by less than 1/1000th of a second, Amato takes home his 3rd crown of the season. Gwynn, however, passes Eddie Hill and is now 2nd in points, only 622 behind Joe, headed for Indy.
This was the scene nearly a year ago when Kenny Bernstein's engine exploded, causing him to lose control of his car at the Maple Grove Raceway in Pennsylvania. Despite the horrendous nature of the crash and despite the fact that he landed upside down in a swamp at the end of the strip, Kenny would emerge okay. As we saw with the John Andretti crash, CART and some other sanctioning bodies have their own safety crews on hand, ready if needed. NHRA's Safety Safari came to Kenny's rescue and is the subject of this week's edition of the Bernstein File, brought to you by Quaker State.
In motorsports of all types, there are safety crews, and certainly it's no different with the National Hot Rod Association's Safety Safari, second to none. Behind me, you see the truck, the Safety Safari truck that houses all the equipment it takes to keep the driver safe. The Hurst Jaws of Life, which can cut roll cages and material away to save a driver. The fire extinguishers that fight all types of chemical fires, from titanium to magnesium to aluminum. Also in houses, a 120-gallon water tank pressurized by nitrogen to put fire out. You also see a gentleman standing with a fire suit on from top to bottom. In the heat of the day, they can go into any fire at any time and save a driver. And I'll tell you from firsthand experience, when I heard Ronnie Davis and the boys coming for me when I was upside down in the swamp in Maple Grove, Pennsylvania in September, it was the best words I ever heard. I'm Kenny Bernstein.
This weekend's racing action starts tonight in Bristol, Tennessee, with live coverage of qualifying for Saturday's Busch 500 Winston Cup race at 8 o'clock. Then at 9, we'll be live for the Tri-City Pontiac 200 Grand National race. Saturday night at 7:30, live coverage of the Busch 500 Winston Cup event. Then on Sunday at 4 o'clock, it's the Grand Prix of Belgium Formula One race from Spa-Francorchamps.
In auto racing, the big Q stands for quality. In Quaker State's 11,000 RPM Porsche-powered IndyCar. In Ricky Rudd's 625 horsepower high-torque V8. These great racing engines demand the great name in motor oil. Quaker State with QSX, proven to run clean for unbeatable protection from wear and tear.
And the Quaker State that protects all these engines on the track is the same oil you buy right off the shelf.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
No matter how Dodge makes it look, winning ain't easy.
Off the road, the land is mean. The ultimate test of man and machine. So we take on the dust, we take on the heat. Just trying to prove that Dodge can't be beat.
And if winning was easy, why run the race? Can't be number one if you don't set the pace. At Dodge we know there's only one first place. If winning was easy, it wouldn't be a race.
If you're looking for winning performance, it's gotta be a Dodge. They're locked in the lead for the World Driving Championship. Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost challenge the demanding circuit of the Grand Prix of Belgium. Sunday afternoon at 4 Eastern on ESPN.
And finally, when our Speedweek cameras were roaming the pits last weekend at Pocono, we came across this interesting and unusual story. Computer expert Edward Mantell is an avid race fan. He follows the sport closely on TV, but this is his first time actually attending a race, and his first time to actually see a race car since Mantell lost his eyesight.
And that's the nose piece, the top nose piece. It comes off. Underneath there is the master cylinders for the brake.
Mantell was blinded in the Korean War when a buddy walking in front of him stepped on a landmine. This aerodynamic ARS car is a far cry from the last race car Mantell actually saw nearly 40 years ago. That was ARS crew chief Carl Garwood helping Mantell look at a modern-day race car. By the way, Edward's favorite driver, Bobby Rahal, of course, won Pocono.
And that's it for Speedweek for this week. Stay tuned for live coverage of the Winston Cup qualifying and the Busch Grand National stock cars from Bristol, Tennessee. I'm Larry Nuber.
And I'm Bob Jenkins. We'll be on at 6:30 Thursday next week. We leave you this week with more from the Champion Sparkplug 400.
Speedweek has been brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality, always has, always will. And by Dodge Cars and Trucks. For performance on road and off, it's gotta be a Dodge.
Behind
every single flight one of these makes stand the 60,000 professionals of United Airlines. Rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies.